Oh, thank you so much, Caitlin. That was lovely. And such a range of things in there. Just loved every one of those. Okay, so time for our featured reader. Sareh Farmand was born in Tehran at the start of the Islamic Revolution and grew up in Vancouver, BC. Her first book of poems, Pistachios in My Pocket, follows a narrative arc that tells the story of her family's escape from Iran and their experiences as first wave Iranian immigrants to Canada. She holds degrees in international relations and education from UBC and is a 2018 graduate of the SFU's Writers Studio. And I always like to find a little interview. So I found this interview with Stephen Quinn on CBC, which was really lovely. And they were talking about the fact that this book happened to come out coincidentally and is very relevant right now at a time when revolution is taking place again in Iran. And Sarah said about this, I feel that my book serves to inform and unify people behind the freedom fighters of Iran and also all displaced people. And I feel that my book also situates Canada within what's happening. And I really feel we need this, and I'm really excited to hear this from Sarah right now. So welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, everybody. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay, great. Thank you all of you for being here tonight, and thank you to Planet Earth Poetry for inviting me, and Zoe for that beautiful introduction. I'm so honored to be here at the longest running poetry reading series in Canada. That is so cool. I'm really honored, so thank you. I will be reading from my book, Pistachios in My Pocket, and as Zoe mentioned, it does follow a narrative arc. The first part of my book is about our life in Iran. I aim to take the reader back in time to my grandmother's Iran, an Iran where women shared the same freedoms and rights as women in North America. Part one ends with our escape. And part two is about our life living in limbo in Europe, where we really didn't know where we were going to end up. A lot of people at that time felt that the revolution was going to die down. They couldn't imagine that a fundamentalist government could take over and turn back the hands of time really on civil liberties and science and everything. And yet, we ended up kind of not knowing where we would be, but we found our home in Canada. And I say we were first wave immigrants because, now there's such a large population, but in 1980, when we came, we were really there was a handful of us, and we immigrated to Vancouver. And yeah, we were the first wave. So tonight I aim to sort of take you on a little journey like I aim to do in my book. I'll begin with, I just wanted to say a few words actually about the artist. So Nazli Ataiye is a Iranian Canadian artist who lives in Vancouver, and she did the beautiful artwork in my book. So we're going to start with Desert Sky. I know, isn't it gorgeous? So this first poem is sort of how I imagined the mornings in Tehran were for my grandmother when she was growing up. It's called Morning in Tehran. Marmalade light slowly fills the slate streets. Air crisp, clean, arid. City stirs from slumber, sits in quiet prayer upon rectangle silk carpets. Paisley pinks and blues, soft beneath clean morning feet. This next poem is a little vignette of my mother's life growing up in Iran. It's called Molla. Mosques brimming with morning disciples in sunrise prayer. My family at home making tea. My aunt plays her Beatles record while my mother is scorned for wanting to attend mosque. It's too political a place. You don't need a mullah to lead you to God. You are a child of the universe. Khoda means God within self. Search within yourself for the answers. Later, sisters walked to school, hand in hand. My mom's gaze traces horseshoe arches, pillars of brickwork, tall minaret. Mullahs stare back, thumbing their prayer beads beneath their shawls, plotting away her freedom, one bead at a time, simply counting the days. This poem is about the social and political changes that I imagine people observed and felt as the 1978 revolution grew closer. It began as a classist revolution, and it was hijacked. It's called Changes. Transfixed. In one moment, nothing remains the same. And I'm all right. I'm all right with change. But we have quiet longing for our past, pulling at our core. Warming milk on open fires, grazing tents out in the sky, playing under sheets while daylight passes us by. Safer than in heaven when no one knows our name. While we are daylight dreaming, enmity breeds. This poem is the last in this section, and it's born from my memory of when we left Iran. I was 2 years old. It's called God's Country. Dawn broke the desert sky. We crossed the border into new territory. In my ribcage, all night, I was holding the dreaded anticipation of the border guard exchange with my parents. Everyone could feel it in their lungs, on their chest, its tight grip on the flow of oxygen in the clenched corners of the Volkswagen bus. A vice, muffled words, tension at the state line. We feigned an air of comfort, suffocated in fear. Hiding pearl white earrings in pistachio shells, you turned to me, pretending you were not crying. We crossed into safety, breathing. Your grief now had room in my ribcage. I held it, with you, from you, for you. Give me all of it, if only my 2-year-old body was not so small. Looking for answers, I asked the peach-skinned sun, will we ever be back home? Dad's laughter rolled with his tears. Let's pretend this is not the end. Now on to New Moon. As I mentioned, our time in Europe, we lived 6 months in Berlin and 6 months in Rome, trying to figure out where we'd end up. And we were lucky. We had family living in Berlin and friends who had been living in Rome. This poem is born from my memories of playing with my German cousin. It's called Snow. Warm amber light embraces, home filled with family, kitchen cleanup sounds, percussion to our laughter. 2 little girls hurriedly dressed, thick warm snowsuits, puffy mittens, scratchy woolly scarves, and hats cover everything, except round cheeks, button nose, our eyes. Mine brown, hers blue. Let outside, bright white, quiet. Small snow-filled landing. Stairs ahead, we are told not to climb. Cold air enters, soft noses, Warm lungs, door closes, hush fills the air. Smiles and looks hide language barriers. She shows me to slosh wet white snow with my mittens, maneuver it like Play-Doh. Slish slosh, slish slosh, slish slosh, slosh slosh. I pat 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 my little snow mound, watch for her approval, smiling at my blob. She has built a snow white crystal castle. This one's called Motherland. You are here, all around, yet you are gone. No body, only shadows. No soil, only dusted memories. Nothing to touch. I trace your outline on glossy picture paper. Doorway arches, mountain curves, winding roads to nowhere. You are held in the corners of my mind, tight crevices of my heart. You line my lungs and gut with microbes found only in your geography. Everything that makes me strong is born from you. So far away, I live and breathe you still. I use your love language to whisper sweetness in my baby's ears. Savory scent of your food fills our Canadian home. Your old songs, I know by heart. You gone, yet forever remain within, around me. That one really fits with our theme of home, right? In this poem, you will hear me refer to the Shah, which means in Farsi king, and it refers to the King Reza Pahlavi, who was in power until the revolution dethroned him. And it's a suite. It's called Diaspora. 1. Berlin, where we find respite, where Iranians don't require travel visas just yet. Reprieve. Things will get better, they say. The revolution will die down. The Shah will be back. Iran will have a constitutional monarchy, they hope. Children play by fireplaces and outside in snow. Adults set tables with white eyelet tablecloths. We learn German nursery rhymes. Our parents learn to roast duck and goose. Everyone enjoys Kaffeekuchen. 2. In a dark corner on a small lacquered table, my mom sets up a black RCA tape recorder. This is what you speak into. Her instructions always cloaked in warm love. I sit on my little red wooden chair and we record our voices. I giggle with glee, playing this game with my mom, playing back our voices. We love each other. I can hear it. Because of the revolution, we sing songs, say messages into the tape deck for our family and friends all over the world. I play the tapes back until the day they are mailed off, somewhere far away, Sydney, LA, Vienna, Rome, Vancouver, Tehran. Nobody sends one back, or maybe they do, but we have already moved. 3. Rome. You are not giving landed immigrant applications to Iranians. A web of family and friends hold us safe, temporary here. Things will get better, they say. The revolution will die down. The Shah will be back. Iran will have a constitutional monarchy, they repeat. My cousins attend international school with Iranian kids we know. I stay home wishing I was old enough. Weekends are for picnics under Balboa trees. Branches sway above our blankets, leaves like stained glass against light. We feast on succulent Roman olives, sun-kissed tomatoes, and sharp Lebanese feta, requiring this Roman holiday. Mom sets up the RC tape recorder, this time on an empty wooden wine crate, turned upside down on terracotta tiles of the dining room. I sit on cushions, face the balcony, and record my voice into the tape deck for our family and friends all over the world. I play the tapes back until they're mailed off, somewhere far away. Nobody sends one back, or maybe they do, but we are already gone. So Northern Lights, we made our way to Vancouver in 1980, 81 actually, it was 1981. I was 3. And as I mentioned, we were part of the first wave of Iranian immigrants, and all around us, we lived in Lower Lonsdale in North Vancouver, or Mid Lonsdale. And in this poem, I wanted to relay some of the early experiences of the caring and welcoming community members that I remember that surrounded us and supported us new immigrants. And my grandma, Mama Mariam, makes an appearance in this poem. It's titled North Vancouver, 1982. In my pink raincoat from Mrs. Mueller's shop on Lonsdale, where we always speak our German, so Mrs. Mueller and I don't forget. Mom and Grandma in their see-through rain hats from Boots Drugstore. Cindy at the counter with I Dream of Jeannie hair shows them how to wear it so their hair doesn't get flat. She always calls me doll. Sounds like she has marbles in her throat. Dorothy, our upstairs neighbor, our friend, teaches Mama Mariam a shortcut to the community center. We walk through streaks of rain that slice frosty wind. Too cold to play in puddles, Mom pulls me into the moist warmth of her ESL classroom, wall-to-wall carpeting. Today is Multicultural Day. Everyone has brought a platter to share. The teachers, Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Parker, are there to greet us. Oh, this is Sarah. Nice to see you, Sarah. We love your mom and grandma. They have told us all about you. I meet their classmates, know their names, now their faces, but only at school. Sorry, I meet their classmates, know their names, now their faces, friends, but only at school. People just like us from all over the world. We feast on dumplings, egg rolls, deviled eggs, Turkish dolme, taste different than Mama Mariam's. Samosas, tamales, and triangle-shaped ham sandwiches on squishy white bread with butter, something I crave the rest of my life. Oven-baked bread embraces this cold, drizzly gray day. We are not yet accustomed. We are welcome. We belong. The next poem is how I imagine from family stories my husband's life growing up in Miramichi, New Brunswick. We had a very different upbringing. This poem is a suite. It's titled Hymn, New Brunswick, 1983. 1. Long, narrow, Chiprock Road, curving, rolling, leading nowhere. Fireflies dance with dusk. Air emanates stillness. Silence cloaks nightfall. Endless sky scattered with stars. 2. Tall, narrow clapboard houses, homesteads, spring along street shoulders. Fields forever on either side. Neighbors for generations, Together weather life. Keep a polite distance, yet always heed the call for support. 3. Home warm. Smells of beef barley soup and dad's baked potatoes. After a long day, time spent at the rink, everyone comes home from the cold, hurriedly to sit at the table. Someone turns on CBC, happy dog tails wag, thump on walls. Home glows amber onto white snow. Night falls on the quiet little town. And this is my last poem for you tonight. And it's about my experiences after 9/11, crossing the border into the US, where my friend had a ski cabin that we would frequent. And all of my friends were born in Canada. So on their passport, it said Canada born, and mine said Tehran, Iran, after 9/11. It's called VIP. On cabin ski weekends, nobody wants to cross with me. Questions by border officers usher us to a different lane. Broad, non-menacing smile on my face. See, I'm nice. We drive our hushed car slowly, gingerly. Really? Every time? Friends whisper in the quiet car. I laugh it off, keep it light. I wave it off. A friend grabs my hand, moral support. VIP lane, my friend jokes. Very intelligent Persian lane. Same questions by different officers, as if casual conversation. Led inside. Same questions by new officer, as if in passing. You all sit back here while we ask her some more questions. I smile reassuringly. Led to the front counter. I wait. New officer. Computer's just warming up. Same questions. Retina scan. Wait. New officer. Same questions. Fingerprints. Wait. New officer. This one flirts. Maybe I'll hold you back here just for the night. Laugh it off. Keep it light. Same questions. Picture taken. Don't smile for this. I won't.
Thanks, Sarah. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my phone on my watch.